Hi, I'm Molly, and this is Zach. And welcome to Dirty Moms Yoga. We are going to be changing some things on the channel for right now, as I have been sidelined due to my pregnancy. And so I am unable to personally show you some live, or not live, but show you physical practices. So Zach has agreed to help me the best that he can. And then he may just take over, because why not? It'll be fun. So we've been trying to do this mini series for all of you for quite a while now. And if you look back, we already have one for blocks, which I definitely recommend getting. And another one that you'll see often in classes, and especially into mine, are bolsters. And then I'm going to give you and show you some blanket options as well. Okay. So if you don't have bolsters at home, first, I always recommend checking out your local yoga studios. Try to shop local if you can. If not, or if you just are saving money, pillows work just as well. I often use couch pillows just because they're nice and handy and fluffy and they feel nice. So those are some options for you as well. So for bolsters, if you're taking any of my classes, you will notice that I almost always start out my class with a meditation. And with that, you are seated. And I always recommend, Zach is actually a good subject to show this. So I recommend sitting on a bolster or a pillow if you notice that your knees are above your hip flexors or your hip bones. So you can see his are a little bit up higher. So he's just tighter in the hips, and that's okay. So if we can have him sit on the bolster, I'm going to scoot back a little bit. And then have him sit cross-legged from there, his knees will fall down a little bit further. And if that's still uncomfortable for him, he can always take blocks and kind of push those underneath the knees so that they're nice and rested and feeling more comfortable. How does that feel for you?
Great.
Okay. When you do this, it also allows you to bring the natural curvature into your spine and feel length out of the spine as well. So if you're doing any kind of sort of seated posture or a seated meditation, adding that height underneath your pelvis is really beneficial. And so even if he brings his legs out in front of you that I would also recommend, if you have short hamstrings, I would have him sit on some height as well, so that he can feel his sitting bones rooting down into the earth and he can feel the length out of his spine. Another way you can use your bolster, let me think what else we had in mind here. There's a lot of options, but we're trying to keep it nice and simple for all of you. So you can also use a bolster. Let's do a reclined. So if you do end up with a reclined start of your class, so a reclined meditation, he's going to place the bolster long ways and he's going to sit so his tailbone or his sacrum is right against the edge there. And then one pose that I love is Supta Baddha Konasana, or bound reclined angle. So he's going to bring his feet together. He's allow his knees just to relax, open up his palms to the ceiling and open up the chest. It's a heart opener. So there are some ways that you can start class this way as well, or even finish this way. Now again, if this is having his knees open is super uncomfortable, he can take those blocks or pillows even and prop them underneath his knees so that it's a little bit more comfortable. That one's a little lower, so it's a little lopsided. But that will also feel a little bit more comfortable. Now, how does that feel in your neck, though?
Could use something.
Could use something. He's such a good model. So with any kind of reclined posture, you want your forehead higher than your chin. That activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is where you rest and digest. So that's where a blanket comes in. So I'm going to toss this over to you because I can't move. And he's just going to fold it. And he's going to place it underneath his head, kind of like a little extra pillow. And he can adjust it and he can roll it up a little bit more. But now you see his chin is a little bit lower and his forehead's a little bit higher. Does that feel more comfortable?
Very much so.
So that's very much so more comfortable. So it's going to lengthen the back of his neck. So that's another option for bolsters and pillows, and then adding that blanket on top of it. Okay. All right, come on out. And then one other way I want to show you is if you're in a kneeling position. So you can take the bolster away. Keep the blanket nearby. So if you have bad knees like Zach does, there are different options you can use for your knees. One, if he's just sit back like on your heels like you normally would sit. So you can put the blanket underneath your knees if it's more comfortable that way, and then he can sit back on his feet. Now, if sitting like this is still uncomfortable for his knees, he can take a pillow, go ahead and sit up. You can stay down there. You can keep the blanket there. So just, yeah. And then I'm just gonna take this pillow and I'm gonna cinch it right behind the crook of his knees, and he can sit back that way. Does that feel a little more comfortable, feel more length out of your spine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is an option. You can also use a block, but pillows are a little bit more cushier on those sitting bones. And it'll also give you a little cushion under your knees. Now, another option is go ahead and come on up, and I'm gonna take this out. So if you're somebody who's really tight on the front of your ankles and you can't get the top of your foot down onto the ground, another option is taking that blanket, go ahead, and placing it underneath those ankles or even underneath the shins. You can go up as far as you want, and then he can sit back from there. Now, if you need both, a trick that I don't have my mat out to show you is he could kneel on that blanket, and then he can take his mat and fold his mat up underneath those ankles. That's an option that you can use that mat for additional cushion as well. Okay, let's show a standing one. So one pose that I use quite often is low lunge or Anjaneyasana. So come into your runner's lunge, so foot forward. Good, and then and then drop that knee back. Scoot back just a little bit so you're still on camera. I don't know if you are. That's good. Okay, so this can be really uncomfortable for people with knee issues. So if he takes his blanket and slides it underneath his knee, then that adds a little bit of extra cushion. He can even take it long ways and have it underneath the knee, under the shin, and underneath the top of the foot. And you can really ground down a little bit more into those areas to help with his balance. And you bring your arms up overhead for low lunge. Ta-da! How's that feel?
Great.
Good. Let's see. I'll show you two for Shavasana. So we'll go ahead and go on to like a Shavasana style. So everybody always ends in Shavasana. It's the hardest pose in yoga. So go ahead and lay down flat. Grab your bolster. Lay down. Don't do that one yet. You're going to have it underneath your knees. There we go. So then you're just going to lay down. And he's just going to take this bolster, roll it up under, and put it right underneath his knees, and he's just going to lay back. Legs are just going to go nice and long. Palms are going to face up towards the ceiling. And then if he wants, he could always fold that blanket underneath his head, or he can just use that blanket because you're usually there in Shavasana, depending on how long your class is, anywhere from 3 minutes to 10 plus minutes, however long you'd like. So that's another way you can use your blankets and your bolster. And then if you don't have any of these, for your, I wanted to show the reclined one too. Okay, slowly come on up. Sure. So let's do the semi-reclined. So if you are somebody like myself who can't go a full reclined or it's uncomfortable, ooh, very close. So you're gonna have a flat one, yeah. Have them far, just, no, you're good, yep. Yep, put apart just a little bit. So you have your blocks. One is on the medium height, and the one in front of it is on the lowest height, and then you're just gonna take your bolster and you're gonna prop it right on top. Yep, and then he's gonna come put his tushy as close to it as possible, and then he'll lay back from here. And then again, because his forehead is higher than his chin, we'll roll this up and we'll place it underneath his neck, and he can add more if he'd like. There, look how beautiful it is. You can even see, I don't know if you can see on the side with the cameras, you can see how his spine goes more into a natural curvature from the top of the head all the way down through the base of his sacrum. And that's what we really want within the spine, especially for the neck. The neck is an extension of your spine. You still have vertebrae up there. We got to watch out for those. And then he could always take the pillows if he wants instead. He can either do dog toys. He can either do Supta Baddha Konasana, where his bottoms of his feet are touching together in like that butterfly style pose. Or you can have them long and do a Shavasana this way, and then you can take those couch cushions and go there as well. Hopefully you guys can see that. So that's another option. And then I like this one. This one's probably one of my newer favorites, just because being pregnant, I can't lay on my back anymore. All right, slowly roll over to your side and coming up. Okay, let's say you don't have any of this at home. You don't have bolsters. You don't have blocks. Another option for a lot of this is the pillows are easiest that you can just use on your own at home, and that's just readily and easily available to you. Depending on how many you have, you might have to grab some from your bed as well, but just stacking them up, you might have to play with them a little bit. So I've got 3 in the back, 2 in the front. Again, the sacrum comes right next to the edges of the pillows. He leans on back from there, and it's just nice and cushy. How does that feel?
Very cushy here.
Very cushy here. Do you want a blanket underneath your forehead?
Actually, I'm okay.
Yeah. I like the pillows. So if you don't have these options at home with the bolsters and with the blocks, it doesn't mean you can't do any of this. Here, I'm going to roll up the towel and I'll put it right underneath his knees even. A bigger blanket would probably be a little bit more comfortable for his low back, but at least he is able to position himself into a pose that allow his spine to be in the most neutral and relaxing position. You feel like you can stay here forever?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one is one of my favorites. So those are just some ways to use pillows and bolsters and blankets. There are many, many varieties and options out there. You can stay if you want, or you can just chill there as well. But I do definitely encourage to use those props in your practice. Props can really accentuate and enhance those poses for you, make them more comfortable for you, and also help you feel more stable in a lot of those poses. So I encourage you to go back, check out some of those old videos. We're going to try to get you some new ones soon. Our next class will be on straps, and Zach is very eager to show you what he's got solo. So that will be interesting. But otherwise, thank you, Zach, for joining in and helping me. And thank you, all of you, for joining in as well. Make sure you subscribe, like, share. You can hit the bell icon. That just gives you notifications when new content is uploaded. And other than that, did I miss anything? All right. We both say, put our hands together at our heart center. Deep breath in. Say namaste. Thank you.